So Tal-os is an HR solutions company, and basically what we're doing is not single role recruiting, but instead project recruiting and talent ignition is the right word to say, in China. And so we run an arc for market entry or market expansion, which includes employer branding, assessment, actual talent identification, sourcing, and recruiting, as well as onboarding, and then using assessment and using competency-based interviewing to profile what the talent map looks like for the group and where there needs to be development to have them actually connect squarely into the business in other parts of the world. But specifically where we've been getting a lot of traction, and it's based on where we've got a lot of experience, is in retail. And as you know, retail is expanding really rapidly in China. And many people would say, well, you know, the first entering opportunity is past, but that's not true at all. We're still at the beginning of retail being established in China. When you and I came to China initially, you couldn't even do direct sales. All sales had to go through agents. So this is really the first generation of consumer sales is taking place. And so what's happening is that you have a management group, which is kind of the first of its kind in China, that's usually people in their 30s to 40s who are very sought after for retail and for sales roles in particular, but especially for consumer-based retail. And then you have a lot of very young people who have also been advanced very quickly into middle management just because of the lack of sophistication and development of the market previously. So you have an employee base that's fairly new without any prior generation of experience to set a standard. So it's quite exciting that companies coming in a way, have a blank slate because they can hire people and they really can train and develop and build the sophistication of the people so that they connect into their companies in a great way and so that they're China appropriate. But the flip side is that you don't have a lot of mentoring in market going on. So you really need to make sure that you're developing people and you're selecting people that have the capability to be developed. And so we found this very exciting. One of the reasons that we've done so well in retail is because we have a very strong Marcom background, and we have an extremely experienced branding group as well. And big retail companies care a great deal about their brand and the brand reputation. And that's a main attractor because a lot of employees in retail earn a portion of their salary on commission. And commission relies on how you present merchandise, how attractive it is to consumers, where your location is, I mean, all of the basics of marketing. And so the brand and what the brand has to offer an employee in terms of their career path is really critical. So employer branding is also quite important. There's definitely a large education component that takes place. So especially in China, and Hong Kong is a little bit more sophisticated, but also there, if you're a new entrant, you really need to explain to potential employees what you have to offer them as far as their career is concerned. A lot of times, especially when we're doing market entry, we look for people who have a really strong set of operational skills, but also have an entrepreneurial spirit, because they actually need to lead and create and innovate. And so that's kind of a unique proposition. I know that, boy, since the study of engineers, I don't even know how long ago, 10 years ago, there's been this whole story about a proven lack of middle management. And in a way, that's true. But it isn't because there's a scarcity of people in China who are competent. It's because Western business has grown and Chinese business has grown so rapidly that the demand has outpaced the number of people. The good news is there's incredibly skilled, capable, intelligent, hardworking people here who are eager for an opportunity, but development of employees is just critical. because that's where you establish the base for your company. You aren't usually going to bring in somebody that's 100% what you want, but you can find somebody that's 75 to 80% what you want, and then you really have the joy of developing them into somebody who can walk the talk of your culture and who can lead. So we have been doing market expansion for Xenia, market entry for Tory Burch, for The Gap, and for a Japanese brand called Mousy. And so we have a nice portfolio of clients who have fantastic brands and a really strong commitment to China that we're working with at different stages of their business development here. And so that's been very attractive for us because it's actually helped us to really build an offering for the whole employee life cycle and the whole business life cycle in China for retail. Tory Burch right now is just going into Hong Kong, and it's pretty typical for somebody, for a company like that that's more on the boutique and luxury end, to put their foot in the market first in Hong Kong. So their market entries are Xenia, as you've said, has a long China commitment, and we're actually working with them on second and third tier city expansion. And that would be, if you look at the arc, that would be a typical arc, which would be you start in Hong Kong or Beijing or Shanghai with a flagship store, and then you build your market presence in the core tier 1 cities, Hong Kong, somewhere in South China, probably Guangzhou, Beijing, and Shanghai. And then as you've got your business base there, then you'll expand into second and third tier cities, because pockets of wealth are in surprising places in China. It's a really exciting time in China right now. And I've been here for 15 years, so I keep seeing exciting times. But I think one of the things that make this time the most interesting is when you compare what's happening in China to North America or Europe. What you see is actually a lot of business momentum and activity. China recovered its balance very quickly from the Asian economic crisis, the global economic crisis. And in recovering its balance, a lot of attention shifted here. And what makes it more interesting to work here now is you see globally important strategic plays taking place in China and in Asia as companies try to compensate for a decline in North America or Europe. And we've had, we also do a really exciting and innovative thing, which is that we do geographic mapping around where talent is located and what skills they have. And so we've done some really interesting work for North American companies whose business used to be, let's say, 1/3 North America, 1/3 Europe, 1/3 China or Asia, where because of the economic crisis, 80% of their business is situated in China and surrounding regions right now. And so they're not unique in the fact that they are actually redeploying all of, especially sales and marketing management, into China and into Asia so that they're closer to customers and closer to where business is taking place. So that's a really interesting research and strategic initiative that we've undertaken, is to help companies look, because of what's happened in the global economy, about how they redeploy and build their organizational base in China so it's closer to real business. We've also seen a lot of companies related to that setting up shared service centers in the region. And again, our ability to do talent mapping in the market regionally helps companies to make strategic decisions about, do we put a shared service center in the Philippines or in China or in India? And if we do, how do we need to restructure our business because of the talent, competencies, capabilities, and management skill that's available? And how will we actually interact with that office? So it's one of the really exciting things to me is about how business is being reformed and how that is playing out in what global companies are doing here in China. It's quite exciting.